Well, friends, Michelle Shocked is at it again. She's still as awful as ever in her communications, and as obviously not watching any of my videos about the subject, or else she'd understand a few things. You see, when I make a video responding to her emails, that has nothing to do with copyright infringement. And even if she were to win a case against me by a copyright infringement, it would not silence me. I'm not going to be silenced by specious legal threats. And even if she were to win a copyright case against me, it wouldn't silence me at all. Now, listen to this email. This is from Michelle Shocked. Hey, dickweed douche bro, how's it hanging? Are you enjoying being on the receiving end of your own cyberbullying techniques so far? These are not my cyberbullying techniques, Michelle Shock. These are yours, okay? I don't have any cyberbullying techniques. I don't engage in cyberbullying. I respond to people who do things and say things that I don't like I'm responding to this, which is absolutely within my rights. Rachel's stoner Cupid doll act is just too cute. Let me tell you the one surefire guaranteed way to avoid getting your pie hole shut by me for secondary copyright infringement for real in federal court. Let her tell you the one surefire way. Let Rachel tell me. She's 100 times smarter than you. And then follow your wife and business partner's advice for once, you chicken shit couch cowboy, toxic shocked. I'm not afraid of you, Michelle Shocked. I don't want to get sued, obviously. But if you are going to sue me in federal court, then just serve me papers. I don't need these emails. Insulting my wife. I mean, this is exactly the sort of thing I don't do, right? If you were to actually watch the videos, you'd see I don't do anything like this. I don't engage in this kind of non-civil discourse like you do. But I don't know. I did ask Rachel what the surefire guaranteed way to not get sued was. And just rather as I predicted, she did not know the answer either. If the surefire way of not getting sued, Michelle Shocked, is not talking about you anymore, well, then just don't send me any more emails, you know? Yeah, she went after Rachel. She came back to me. If you're going to see me in federal court, you know my address, send me papers, serve me papers. You'll lose because I've looked into the laws of secondary copyright infringement. You cannot meet either the prima facie burdens you have to meet. You can't prove that I did it on purpose, and you can't prove that I did it for profit, nor that I profited from it at all. In fact, nor can you show that you incurred any harms. So you got no case in federal court at all. It's not like the copyright board. They're not going to hear any old thing that just some person who doesn't know anything about the law wants to push through as a vindictive personal attack against somebody who they don't like speaking out against them in legitimate ways, you know. This is exactly the sort of speech that the Constitution is designed to protect. It's way, way more important than your frivolous little claim, obviously. Yeah, well, she clearly doesn't like what I'm saying. But I don't think she's really watched the videos where I'm talking about this case. If she did, she'd understand why I'm not concerned about being sued in federal court. You don't have to be some kind of genius to read the law and realize that it definitely doesn't apply here. In fact, there is no, secondary copyright infringement isn't even mentioned in the copyright law. It's an argument that certain courts have allowed plaintiffs to make, but the instances that exemplify secondary copyright infringement are nothing like this instance at all. If you did any research on the matter, you know that there's a 0% chance of Michelle Schacht winning a federal case of secondary copyright infringement against me, who's not actually guilty of it. I was trying to celebrate the woman's music and the fact that I had found an elusive downloadable copy of it without going to a pirating website or anything. All right, I'm not defaming her at all. I read her email out loud. That's, she's defaming herself by writing emails like that. I read it word for word. I didn't misrepresent anything. Obviously, I want to avoid being sued. That doesn't mean I'm chicken shit. That means I'm not insane. Being sued's a hassle. Even though I feel very confident I'm going to win, I still would rather not have the, that space leased in my head, I guess. Although it's not really possible to lease much more space in my head about it because I've done all the research and understand all the legal arguments now. So it's just a matter of executing that if it goes down to it. Well, I agree it's personal for her, but it shouldn't be. Just because she doesn't like me calling her out. She doesn't have a case, so, it's like too bad. No, I know, yeah. I get it. Going to court can be a time-consuming and costly affair. That's what it said in the copyright board thing. But the thing is, it's time-consuming and costly for both sides. And since she's not going to win, I mean, given that it's personal for her, means she wants to win the fight. It doesn't mean she wants to lose the fight. And I don't imagine she's completely irrational. I mean, she's got to have some awareness that she doesn't stand a chance in federal court on this issue. It's not an actual case of secondary copyright infringement. I wasn't trying to profit off of her materials at all, Like even this live stream, when I'm talking about her, this is non-monetized. And it's just because that's what the default setting is on my phone. If she thinks I'm making a lot of money doing YouTube, she's effing nuts, and I'll produce the financials to prove it. Well, but I mean, even 99% irrational doesn't want to get nuked. So it's like even Kim Jong-un doesn't start a war with a nuclear weapon, right? It's if she has any common sense about the respective strengths of our respective cases, then if it's personal where she doesn't want to lose the fight, and she should be aware that she's definitely going to lose it. Because somebody has to actually be guilty of the thing you're suing them for to win the case. If you're going to win the case, you can't just make shit up and expect that to fly. If we're in federal court, it gets to depose her for sure, and there's no way she'd withstand any kind of vigorous questioning on my part. She'd have to rewrite her claim entirely because it's full of counterfactuals that if we get it dismissed before it ever even saw before it even saw a courtroom. So, nevertheless, it was a bit of an adrenaline rush to wake up to. I was up earlier, then I went back to bed. And I'm not disputing that Rachel's super smart. I don't think she's putting on any stoner cupid pie doll act. She is an actual stoner, after all. I had known liking Shell Shock's music was gonna cause such a kerfuffle, I never would have bothered. If she just doesn't like the fact that she can't scare me, she can't silence me. But that's just not gonna happen. Even if she were to see me and win, it would not happen. I would speak at great length condemning the verdict, condemning her pursuit of a verdict in this case, petitioning for change, etc. But spiteful is as spiteful does, I guess. If she would actually watch these streams, she'd see that I'm not actually attacking her at all, even. I'm just understanding the situation, the legal case, etc. If FE and FI people are so smart, why can't I suppose I can concretize what they're feeling, and that's the difference? I don't know. I'm not sure what you mean by concretize what they're feeling. You mean settle on a specific conclusion about it? Sometimes I want a nemesis just to blame things on. A lot of people seem to want that. I don't know. I seem to blame things on myself, even certain things that I shouldn't blame on myself. Maybe that's the difference. I don't understand why she keeps trying to provoke me with insults and stuff. What does she think that's going to accomplish? Does she think I'm going to make legal decisions based on being provoked by being called chicken shit or something? I mean, who would do that? You'd have to be pretty dumb. I don't know. She must be sharing her misery is what she's unconsciously doing. Okay, well, I wish you'd share it with somebody else. Hopefully someone else will violate her copyright soon and she'll have a new person to freak out about. I mean, the thing is, of course, before she could even begin to conceive of filing papers for a federal suit, She'd have to write a demand letter. I'd write a response letter indicating that I'm not going to meet your demand because her claims are factually false. And then if she wants to search papers and sue me in federal court, I guess I have to go deal with that, you know. But well, she begins with saying, "How does it feel to be a subject of your own cyberbullying techniques?" Except, of course, those aren't my cyberbullying techniques. Those are hers. I don't do anything like that. You know? Yeah, Cupid's not the worst insult in the world. Um, I, I, I don't know. I'm well aware of how smart Rachel is. I don't know if she's 100 times smarter than me, but you know, I don't believe Rachel's dumb. Other people might think that, but not me. I already know how smart she is. Do you want to understand or lament? Your emotions tell you want to lament. Well, I mean, I'd like to understand if it helps in any way. Like simply getting where she's coming from. Well, it doesn't really matter where she's coming from because she's just attacking. Understanding we can turn off every rational approach and just complaining or manipulating. Well, she can successfully provoke me to make a video by sending me an email like that. I don't consider myself manipulated in that instance. I consider it the natural consequence of her bad behavior. I'm not sending her emails like that. I mean, I'm not continuing the communication, etc. What irks me the most about the whole situation is the unfairness of the response. Ozark tried to promote her music with enthusiasm. None of us had heard of her. Now I have a bad taste in my mouth for that name. She's convinced that people are trying to get money from her intellectual property, bottom line for her approach. Well, people may be, but I'm not one of them. You know? Yeah, her insults to you were kind of nice. She said you're pretty and smarter than you seem. Okay. Well, I agree, Michelle Shuck. Rachel is pretty and smarter than she initially might come across. But I don't think it's an act. She's just, cautious. She justified the attack by calling Rachel my business partner. For the record, Rachel is not my business partner. And while talking with famous people does make a tiny amount of money, I'd hardly call it a business. Right? I mean, can you translate the FESE and similar into intelligence? Well, I mean, if you wanted to call it that, if you wanted to play multiple intelligence types, you could make some distinctions, but you still have to use function terms. You could call like FE social grace intelligence, FI intrapersonal intelligence, like what's important to you intelligence. You could call TE um, intelligence regarding independent logics, called TI, intelligence regarding universal logics. You could call NI just intuitive intelligence, SI experiential intelligence, SE intelligence regarding impacts, and any creative intelligence, or the intelligence of divergence, or something like that. You can't prove to her you're not. You either give her what she wants or you're. What does she want, though? I'm not going to give her money. If that's what she wants, then she's not going to get it voluntarily from me, so she's going to have to sue me. Well, no, I would say that the German invasion of France was not successful for the French army's SE focus because their SE focus, the impact should have been prioritized. It should have been prioritized for maintaining your sovereignty, not avoiding getting attacked by the Germans. She wants to punish me for being the cause of her distress. Well, I mean, she's just gonna get more and more distressed if she keeps sending me emails like this. Because I'm just gonna make more and more videos like this that just respond to it calmly and in an adult fashion. And it's just gonna make she's making her own case worse and worse. You know, if she's trying to make a case that I've retaliated against her in some sense, well, that's getting less and less believable the more nonsense she sends me. You know. So the fact that I make a response video in which I discuss the matter calmly in an adult-like fashion does not work against me. I had hoped it was over, you know. I had thought this whole matter over. I thought this whole matter was over. But I think what she's doing at this point is saying, all right, well, well, yeah, okay. I wouldn't disagree with you there, Fyoko Kyok. They assumed, based on previous results, that they were going to be fine about future outcomes. And they were not fine, obviously. And it may, in fact, be better the case that some French soldiers either surrendered or got away to England or whatever than have them die while using inferior weaponry and stuff. So in that case, if you're going to evaluate it like that, you certainly could make the case that on SE logic, the French were wise. They avoided having their cities destroyed and shit, emerged at the end of the other end of the war with France largely intact. And, well, I mean, no. France obviously suffered plenty of damage during the recapture of it. But it didn't suffer damage, so much damage during the capture of it, you know. So on those grounds, if you want to evaluate, it's the thing about those kind of subjective intelligences is it depends on what you choose to highlight as the priority. You know. So I think what Here's probably the best analysis of it. She gets some satisfaction knowing that she's investing stress into my life and or worrying Rachel, right? But I mean, it's the most. It would be the most one of the most frivolous lawsuits in history. It would not withstand scrutiny by any intelligence person whatsoever because to the extent that I mean, just like everything becomes relevant, right? In order to evaluate the legitimacy of her claims, you have to look at my channel in general. It's insufficient to look at just one video or something because the nature of her claims are secondary copyright infringement, all the examples of which, although there's no specific law that even says she can sue me for this, okay? It's not written in the law. There are no statutory, it's not possible to obtain any kind of statutory claims or damages because it's not in the statute. So she'd have to establish both intent to profit on my part, actual profit on my part, actual harms on her part, and willfulness on my part. And she can't establish any of those things in order to get damages. In order to even be eligible to be heard, she has to establish both willfulness and either actual profit or intent to profit. I'm not sure which. And she can't establish either. Sure, I suppose that video was monetized. Probably it was, because I probably made it on the computer and the default there is monetized. But you have to look at my monthly monetization stats and you'll see how little money I make off of YouTube. Certainly I didn't make any money off that video because it was yanked for copyright. And if you think that it drove typing sessions to my quote unquote typing business, well, we can have a look at the old calendar and see just how many typing sessions I did surrounding that. You know, I don't do very many of them. Some of them were published. Well, that's true, Jeremiah Fix. That's very true. It's a very insightful observation as well. But I mean, the thing is, the alternative to me, I'm put in a difficult situation because on the one hand, I can ignore it and feel like I'm being bullied into silence, and that's not acceptable. Or I can respond to it appropriately, like I am, and then I feel better after I do so. You know? I don't know why she's wasting her life being so mad at me, except that she wants me to be punished for talking shit, I guess. Well, you know, I gotta be a good citizen. You gotta exercise rights or you'll lose them. And I'm not gonna allow a specious threat of legal action to silence me. You might say, well, I'm allowing it to force me into speaking, right? Well, yeah, that's true, but it seems the better of the two options. And I don't feel like I can voluntarily choose silence. It's not what I want, right? More excuses? Oh, well, yeah, sure. I mean, World War II started because Hitler wanted to conquer a bunch of Europe. That's pretty straightforward. I don't think anybody can dispute that. I mean, World War II was a complex event. The bigger question of why was Hitler empowered to pursue his agenda links back to the overbearing reparations issued after World War One and the emasculating of Germany. Didn't work that way with Japan after World War II because we took a much different approach with them, than Europe did with Germany after World War One. And now Japan's cool on the Megaboss cartoons. And I wrote for them in soccer. Unlike Michelle Schacht, I don't root for her in soccer. It is, naturally going to be somewhat distressing to come up against somebody who's has such a determined desire to get you, so much clear loathing of you for so little good reason. It's distressing. But I don't think the courts take very kindly to overwrought lawsuits under false pretenses. Because that's what it would be. She wants to sue me because I'm talking like this about her right now. Not because whatever. She wants to sue me so she can make me feel something. She wants to make me feel bad. She wants to make me feel defeated. She wants to take me down a notch. I've encountered these people throughout my life. And Jeremiah Fix is right. They do frustrate me because it doesn't really matter what I say, right? They're immune to my language. I mean, maybe because of my attentional stack, being immune to my language feels really evil to me. Like, you're not willing to engage in any kind of reasonable conversation, If she'd like me to apologize for the initial mistake, I'm willing to do that. I believe I already have in multiple videos, but I'm willing to say, I regret making my initial mistake. I wish I hadn't made it. I'm sorry that happened, Good thing it didn't cost you anything, nor I profit off it, nor was it intentional, or I might be subject to some kind of liability. I'm willing to say that. maybe that's the surefire way. She thinks. You accept that some positions are not able to be validated? Yeah, sure. Lots of positions aren't able to be validated. When subject to scrutiny by a competent person, of course. Obviously, anything that you state can be validated if you're only trying to validate it. And you're not trying to test it for invalidity at all. And it requires both halves of the discursive equation, right? Yeah, I kind of actually, the more I think of it, it's like, well, Michelle Shocked, at least your insult was a backhanded compliment. She basically, your insult to Rachel is she's pretty and smart. That's not so bad.
No, it's not. I've been called worse.
Well, the insult part, I guess, is that you're faking it.
Yeah, but I'm totally not. Like, me on camera is definitely me, who I am.
Yeah. I can attest to that. Maybe Michelle Shock thinks your whole life is a fake.
People, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people think that my whole life is fake because I'm more quiet and more agreeable. But like,
she's not that agreeable. She just disagrees in subtle ways.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I'm fairly agreeable.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, everyone's agreeable when they don't care either way or they feel like agreeing.
Yeah, I just.
So the thing is, my job in life is to make it so that Rachel never feels like she has to disagree. I try to Rachel doesn't like to assert her boundaries, but she always will. And if she has to, I've fucked up in some way. That's how I see it.
Hey, Acacia. Jeremiah Fix, what do you mean? I've been around long enough to see Rachel not as much herself.
Well, right. When you're not yourself.
Oh, then it shows.
Right. That means that's like way back.
That's like when I was suffering.
Right. So when she was not in remission from her bipolar mania, then she was not herself.
No.
But right now, this is Rachel being herself. You even get to see her putting on the makeup, so you don't have to just see her after the makeup's on.
Yeah, that's true too.
It's extra real for you.
I have to say, we're both pretty open. I mean, people are gonna learn stuff about me over time just because, like, I don't talk as much. I'm not as much of a talker.
Right, Jeremiah Fix, and I'm not very conscious of that. I'm much more conscious of when I'm offended by somebody's statement because it's contraindicative of something I've asserted and sustained, I tend to see the world of communication as involving lots of various arguments. So if somebody says something about cognitive functions that I don't agree with, I'm going to come down on that kind of probably hard because it pisses me off. Like, this is messing up the whole clean argumentational grid I've got going here. And then I'm just reacting on my emotions and not thinking about theirs very much. So it depends on what people are talking about. But I can be quite dismissive of other people's wrongnesses without considering their feelings. That's a shortcoming of mine. It's not something that I can't work on. I think I've gotten more compassionate in my general dealings with people as my own life has gotten more Hey, dickweed douche bro. It is a pretty great email intro.
So Moonbay 11. I'm so I know this. Well, I want to know what Eric thinks too, but I do think that that whole NIFE like is a nine sort. It is an INFJ thing, but kind of being more reserved, I think, is a nine thing. I
Maybe I'll introduce myself as dickweed douche bro from now
yes,
on. Dickweed douche bro here. The thing is, if you actually look at my content, I'm mostly not a dick, and almost never am I a douche. I can be a dick sometimes.
like oh,
But does that
we
make me
all
a dick? But
can.
does that make me a dick weed?
Dick Ray makes you a little bit more special, I have to say.
I'll concede some dick. Although it's something I'm working on, okay? I'm working on being less of a dick. Dick weed? I'm not sure what additional quality does one need besides being a dick to be a dick weed?
Yeah, it's a good point.
I agree, Keisha. The alliteration is nice.
Dickweed douchebag?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is good alliteration.
Kind of sounds like an old west villain.
Hey, dickweed douchebag.
You want to know who stuck you up? It's Dickweed douchebag. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Alden Merrill used to make something like that. Also, the bakery up the road makes a bomb diggity of a pistachio cake. So light and fluffy. Nice use of bomb diggity. Lou.
Yeah.
Nice use of bomb diggity. Correctly used. Best used between of and a. Yeah, like a bomb diggity of whatever. I think that's how it's best used. The last thing I ever wanted was to be alive when the three most powerful people on the whole planet would be named Bush, Dick, and Colin. Yes, she's determined, all right.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, when I read it, I didn't process it right away. And I was like, oh my gosh, she mentioned federal court in an email. Is she gonna sue us for federal court? Like,
Well, and then the thing is, I want to stress that we actually followed her instructions. I did ask Rachel if what that way was. She said she didn't know. We could have thought about it more. Does she want us to guess?
guess what?
Or what the surefire way?
Yeah, I don't.
Is it to apologize?
Or is it what Winston's mom said? Have me talk to her instead of you. Remember that was suggested one time? I don't know if it was by Winston's mom, but someone suggested that women to women talking, like, it will get heard more on Michelle Shock's side because it's coming from me, not you. But I don't.
She may be trying to establish that you're my business partner, but I'm not quite sure why.
I'm not sure why either.
Like, does she think that exposes us to more liability in some way? It wouldn't.
No.
I don't know. I wonder how many people she's done this with before me.
I'm thinking a lot. I'm thinking a lot. I think maybe you might be on the forefront of her mind right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are other people that.
Well, the thing is, Jeremiah fixed, there's no disputing what happened. I linked to illegal copies of her songs, right? In a video in which I said, found elusive music. The question is, does that comprise secondary copyright infringement? It doesn't, especially since the video was up for under 200 views before it was taken down under a DMCA strike. And that's normally the remedy a copyright holder has. Now, if I had been profiting off of it for some period of time and she could actually demonstrate that I was selling illegal copies of her music or something like that, or yeah, in other words, that somebody else illegally copyrighted blah 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 blah. Well, I can't admit to anything other than the actual thing I did, right? Which was, without thinking about it, I said, "Oh, I found this elusive music, and I linked to it at the Internet Archive."
Yeah.
You know,
It was
it,
pretty.
in no way, shape, or form did I indicate that I was trying to provide people an illegal way to get her music. Right? If I had wanted to do that, I would have simply said, "Go to Pirates Bay" or something like that, right? Hi-Fi News and Quick Reviews '03. Man assaulted by Michelle shocked. 1 month ago, this was posted. What do you think about that? Wow.
Wow, that's not a great look.
Let's see. So I'm watching this part of this video right now. Huh. So this guy emailed her. I said, his I I don't see anything about her choking anybody or assaulted. I didn't have anything about that in this. What?
Clickbait?
Chalked by. It says man assaulted. It doesn't say anything about that here. Anyway, he wrote her an email that said, "Hi, I'm interested in buying CDs, but a what does this say? I'm very interested in buying CDs with Michelle Shock, but is there an error on the website? It seems like every CD costs $250. Is that an error? Kind regards." Yeah. And I guess she replied to him by and him getting personally attacked as a potential customer. But I don't see anything about man being assaulted by anything. So it seems to be false. If I were her, I'd be mad about this. He doesn't establish what he claims in the title at all. And she'd be right to be mad about that. Yeah. So, I don't know. Because she intimidates everybody who says anything about her. I'm sure that's why, Winston's mom. Except she's not intimidating me successfully. If her, what I suspect, maybe the surefire way to not get sued by her is to be silent and not talk about her. But, she's forced herself into being part of my life, and this channel is my autobiography, and I'm not going to be silenced. So that's all there is to it, I talk about everything going on in my life on this channel. Since she sends me emails like that, that includes her. Maybe that backhanded compliment is an example of Michelle Shock not being pure evil, but she didn't want to actually insult Rachel. I need to find my cigarettes. As usual, I've gone outside for a cigarette and been unable to manage that. I am a bit of a couch cowboy. But I have just a fraction of real cowboy in me, too. See? I have a little wilderness car. It's the ranch edition. So, let me assure you, I did not purchase it with any earnings from YouTube. Thanks, darling. You prefer the glasses I wear? I can't find those glasses. I also prefer those glasses. But I prefer being able to read to not being able to read. So, glasses style be damned. I'd critique myself if I were sitting in the tennis audience. Rich and I like to play, what is that lady wearing? No, I'm sorry, but no. You would not catch me dead in that leopard print top. I like to embrace my girly side sometimes. You know, talk a little fashion, talk celebrity goss. Goss is short for gossip, in case you didn't know. It's a term young people are using these days, just like soaping. People no longer call it the U.S. Open; they just call it US Open. You going to US Open today? No, tickets are $800. We checked just out of curiosity what the prices were for the tickets for the US Open final. $800 a piece. That's a lot of dough for a tennis match. Flushing Meadows. It just makes it sound like the place where all the poo goes after you go to the bathroom. Players at US Open were complaining of weed smell on the court. I really do appreciate you using the correct term for it. You get one wonder point for that. That boy Klaus. Oh, it's Wednesday. Wonder point values are doubled. That's 2 wonder points for you, that boy Klaus. Congratulations. Like, if she would actually just watch me a little bit, watch what I'm saying, she would conclude that I'm not such a horrible person. You know? That's good. Those increase in value, they only increase in value the longer you hold on to them. Well, I guess that's about all the energy of this morning's legal threat. Provided. I suppose I'll wrap up this live stream at the 1 hour mark. Such is life. Okay. I guess I'll watch some television, maybe go back to bed. Kind of a disheartening way to get up, but I guess that's what she wanted. Anyway, have a good day. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.